Oh my god.
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 Oh god.
Oh god. Oh my god. Oh my god, we're live. Oh my god.
Oh my god, I can't even believe we're live right now.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Denise is getting married. Oh my god.
Oh my god, she's gonna be so happy.
Oh, Denise and Ralph, they're just the best couple.
They're the cutest couple. They're gonna have the cutest children. Oh
They're
my god.
They're gonna be the sweetest babies. They're gonna be Instagram models right out of a vagina.
Right out. They're gonna come out with duck faces. Oh my god.
They'll be like, mwah, mwah. They'll put their faces on t-shirts and sell them.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. As usual, I was wavering on that accent. Hey everybody, how's it going? How we doing tonight? How we fucking doing tonight? Ow! Doot, 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 doot. By the way, I went back and checked on like some of my old like videos that I just have to go through and delete, and I realized like for 8 of the 8 videos that I had like on my drive, I started all of them with, "All right, should we get this show on the road?" I just kept going. I'm saying the same fucking thing at every one of these. All right, let's get this show on the road. All right, let's get this show on the road. Should we get this show on the road? I'm like, oh my god, man.
Hey, when you have a good thing and it works, why change it, right?
I guess. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
It's all pre-roll. Hey, let's get this show on the road.
Oh my god, get this show on the road.
Oh my god. Start the show already. Enough of the fucking previews. Nobody cares about Transformers. And how they turn into animal, robot, gorilla, go away.
Right. That was Beast Bat. What? No, what was the other show? The fucking, was it Battle? No, not BattleBots. What the fuck was it? Beast Mode something? Transformer ripoff.
Transmorphers?
Not supposed to say that. Most ridiculous Transformer ripoffs that actually happened. Transmorphers is one.
Go fuck yourself.
Gladiformers.
Gladiformers.
Yep. Hornet, like Bumblebee, just completely different.
What did you say?
Oh, GoBots, that was one of them.
Ah, yeah.
Oh, the Transformer knockoff that came first, were they? They precede the Transformers. Interesting.
That's stupid.
Kung Fu Cyborg.
Now we're talking.
Oh man, these were all things.
Hey, I'm not your mama.
That's an odd one.
I agree. I'm not sure where you'd use that one, but okay.
Where do you naturally slot that one in, right?
Right.
Okay. What was that for?
Okay, makes sense.
What did you say? What's going on?
What's this one titled even?
I don't know. Space people?
The type of voice.
I don't know.
This is just under Space People?
Space Troopers.
This is still Space Troopers.
Yes.
Okay.
This is just a lady now.
Sorry, I spaced out.
You know what I mean?
Space bitches.
Do you copy? What's wrong with you? Will you ever grow up?
What's wrong with you?
Stick to the mission. What are you doing?
Yeah, this one seems really bitchy. And I don't think that's what they should be going with, you know?
Yes.
Okay.
Who seeks our advice?
Jesus.
You got your just desserts.
That's a weird one to have in there. That's like an alien one.
I don't like you.
I can't understand what these are saying.
That one said, "I don't like you."
Ah, okay.
Now listen closely.
Humans are so human.
Humans are so human?
Very good. You do have ears.
More human than human. Am I
More
right?
human than human. More human than human. More human than human. More human than human. Cha-cha-cha-cha-cha. Love that
Nailed
song.
it.
Love that song.
Nailed it. Move
Yes.
aside, Trent.
Trent. You big goofy
Sorry,
bastard.
That was White Zombie. That wasn't Nine Inch Nails. My bad.
I was like, I don't know, they all kind of run together.
Yeah.
I was like, is it Spaceman 9000 or whatever, you know? Static X.
I like them all. I just
I like them all, you know.
I like them all. Yeah.
Dig through the ditches and burn through the witches. Climb in the back of my Dragula. You know what I mean?
Dragula would be a really good where Dracula starts drag racing.
Oh, yeah. Or is a drag queen.
Oh, that's good.
Isn't that a great name for a vampire?
Yep.
Like
I'm into
drag
that.
queen? Hey,
Yes.
it's Dragula. It's kind of like on the nose, but at the same time, it's like, yo, that's a
I
fucking
would
dope
love-
ass name.
I would love to make that movie where like Dragula. It's just the title is Dragula Goes to Florida, and it's just targets DeSantis.
What a horrible
all-
place for a vampire to go. So much the Sunshine State.
State.
What a terrible place for them to go.
Yeah, that's actually a good point.
Yeah, but that makes it interesting. They're like, I care enough about this issue that I'm willing to sacrifice. I'm going to put
Right.
myself in harm's way in my own
In
way.
order to murder everyone down here.
Wow, dude, that actually has it has legs. Oddly enough, it's just, I
Right?
can see the trailer. It's like
Has
in
great
dark and dismal,
Serious.
you know, vampire land, gothic horror. They're like, they hear the news of what's going on in this place, and they're like, I can't take this. I'm going over there. You can't go over there. It's the Sunshine State. It's like, it doesn't matter. People, they need our help, and I'm going to do it. You'll stick out, will I? Cut to. I'm Dragula. Da, 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 da.
Right?
It's like, oh my God.
A sexy goth get up.
They're
going on.
amazing. We've got to get them on the stage. Ba, 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 ba. It's the new hit, Dragula. You know, it's just.
That would be that could easily be produced as a B movie, no problem.
But then it's like, shh, why don't you go back the way you came? And they shoot him, and they're like, that doesn't work on me. And they go attack.
And then cut to the next morning. There's a news. It's a news article happening, or news report.
Yeah.
Last night at a Miami club.
Like someone was brutally. They're like, this is what we're talking about. The trans community is up to no good. They are murdering the good people, and
They're
it's
coming
like,
from Transylvania, and
Right?
they are yeah.
and it's like, they're like, you're doing more harm than good here, Dragula. And they start wondering, like, should I even be here? I've made it worse. A Batman complex, you know? And they're like, but like, I gotta stick this out because I believe in the cause.
I'm telling you, man. I want to work with someone and write this. I think this would be a fantastic. I think this would be a fantastic movie.
And it culminates in the climactic scene of them doing their big show to Rob Zombie's Dragula.
What I want it to be also is I want you like so when Dracula bites someone, they can either drain their blood or turn them, and I would love it for him to bite DeSantis and turn him into a Dragula. That would
Oh
be
my
fucking-
God, that
what
would be
a
amazing.
climax there, and then, yeah.
It's like, I'll give you the choice I never had, like from Interview with the Vampire. It'd be funny if DeSantis is like, no, I want to live. He's like, all right, I'll let you live, but under one condition. It's like smash cut to Dragula Santis, you know?
Oh, it'd be so good.
Oh my
Just to
God.
piss him off.
Kind of wish we were rolling on this.
Yeah,
Good ideas, man. Such good ideas.
so good.
Speaking of, I'm going to hit record on the old camera dammer there.
Doing.
Diggity dow bow, diggity bow. All right. Should we get this show on the road?
Oh, let's do it.
That was intentional this time. I got to hit record here too. All right, you're rolling. I'm rolling on my camera. We are rolling on OBS. And 3, 2, 1. Hey everybody, welcome to Mind Gap Podcast. I'm Doug.
I'm Justin, and we are full of great ideas tonight. We're talking about movie ideas. We're talking about potential merchandise ideas. We've got some topic ideas to talk about. There are just ideas on top of ideas on top of ideas tonight. It's gotta be a good show.
I'll tell you what, if you want to hear one of our best pitches, you should have tuned into the live stream, the pre-roll for this. We did our little bit on, Dragula, the drag queen vampire that goes to Florida to fight against the transphobic populace. So go check that out. YouTube.com/MindGapPodcast. We live stream on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Central. It's a good time. Come hang out with us. Be part of the show. Catch those juicy little bits that you won't necessarily catch on the episode themselves. It's good stuff. It's really good stuff.
Yeah. We got juicy bits for days.
We've got all the juicy bits. All the juicy bits. Juicy bits. Juicy bits. What?
Come down to Mind Gap Barbecue. We got your juicy bits.
We got your juicy bits. We got your juicy bits.
It's our version of the Baby Back Rib song.
We got your juicy bits. Mopping it up. Oh man. I wanted to keep going, but the fear took over, and I'm like, I think I'm good. I think I'm going to stop there.
We haven't done musical improv in a long time.
No.
Yeah.
I still remember one of the things I did in musical improv, I think was borderline, I don't want to say racist, but we got during when we were prepping for conservatory, we were doing musical improv, and we were like, can I get a suggestion of anything else? Someone's like, reggae! And I was like, oh boy.
This isn't going to end well for me.
My scene partner and I were trying to do bad Jamaican accents, and we were like, brah, brah. It was not good.
Yeah.
Two white guys doing that, not good.
I remember in our Writing 6 show, not Writing 6, I'm sorry, Improv 6, or I guess it's E, that would be.
Yeah.
That shit show of a show with, bleh. If
what stands out to you about that one?
About that show or about that class?
About that. Well, we'll start with the show.
Yeah, right.
I don't have a ton of memories from the show, honestly.
The show, I initiated twice without, and what you're supposed to in improv, you initiate without having an idea of where to go. But like I initiated, and then my mind immediately shut down and just went blank, and I was like, uh-oh, this isn't good. So we were doing I can't remember what the exercise was, but it was where you're passengers in a car and someone gets in. And like, remember you like, it's
right.
4 people.
And you switch.
And you switch, and then the person getting in has to do, I can't remember what it was, but I panicked and I just busted out a Scottish accent on stage. And I think it went well because it was just so like, people weren't expecting it. It was like a scream Scottish accent, where I think the whole conceit of it was that you just didn't understand what I was saying. No one in the car understood what I was saying. So that was the one thing I remember. The other one was I was with Molly McCandles, and we ended up getting ourselves into a musical improv scene, and I just blanked. Like I couldn't even, you know how they said if the old rule was if you're doing musical improv and you blank, just keep repeating the same line over and over, because the audience 9 times out of 10 won't really realize, as long as it's musical and melodic, they're not gonna register that you're just saying the same thing. They're just gonna be impressed that you're making a song. Yeah. I was so riddled with stage fright for some reason, or something I got the yips. I couldn't even repeat the same line, and I just remember being like, I need to get the fuck off the stage as soon as possible. I don't remember that at all. The only thing I remember from that show is for the longest time at assignment desk, we had a little bit about a cat named Snickers. And I don't know if you remember this, but we were just like, Snickers! And we were like, it was a fun way of saying it.
Because I think there was like a bar named Snickers that was named after a cat. And we're just like, and for some reason we kind of like created this idea of who this little shitty cat was, and I actually came out as the cat, and you knew exactly what I was doing, and you were like, Snickers, no! Snickers! And I was just like, on all fours, I was like, sassy. Meow. He's like, Snickers! No! I was like, hey, we finally took an idea to the stage. This is awesome.
I would love to, because we record, all those got recorded, you know.
God,
and I mean, you know what? I'll bet you I know someone who has it.
Oh, yeah?
I think Vellucci saved them all.
I had some saves, because it was on that website. I can't remember what it was called, but I had some of those saved. Right? What's that?
I think you were able to download them.
Yeah. I think you had to get access, but once you could get access to it, you could download them. But boy, we should put that on our Patreon.
Here's the thing, if we can find them, we'll put that on our Patreon for like, we got to make it worthwhile though. Like that's like a $10. That's a big one to see those shows.
Oh yeah, we got to make it a pretty big.
Yeah.
You want to see us fucking suck in improv?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Here, this is behind a very steep paywall.
Right. I imagine it's like I've heard Tom Segura talk about. He actually has video of like some of his open mics.
Oh, really?
He
Like
hates.
back when he started?
He hates watching himself. Like he cannot stand watching his stand. Editing his specials is the worst thing in the world. He like puts it off and procrastinates because he can't stand it.
Even now that he's like on pro level, like
he can't stand it. He
amazing.
thinks it's gross. He thinks it's
Really?
awful. He's like, I don't want to do it. I've never had that problem. I've always been able to go back and watch it because I'm like, I want to see. Because I learned this from football when we would watch film. And my coach, as dumb as they were, they had a saying. I said, it's never as good or as bad as you think it was. And they were true. Like when you're like, oh man, I had this great play, and you watch it, you're like, actually wasn't that great. Or you're like, man, did I fuck this up? It wasn't ever quite as bad. And for me, it was like, was that as good as I thought? And also giving myself an opportunity to review it and go, what could I have done? What worked and what could I have done better so I could prepare myself in the future? I liked going back and watching the tapes on that stuff. I thought it was very helpful. So now would I want to do it? Probably not. But you know,
we'll have to see if we can track that down. If we can track any of those down. If not, well, Sam joined us starting in level
C,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So so we've got two reliable people that we can potentially go back to. Well, we've got two people that we can potentially go back to. Sorry, Vellucci, but you know what's up.
Because I don't know if Sam was there for E. He missed one of them.
Did he?
I think so. But
well, either way,
either way, we'll fucking figure it out. But
yeah.
Good times.
Try to figure it out.
I miss improv. I really do. I really miss kind of getting in the shit with that.
There are times where I miss it too. There's we just about 2 weeks ago had we were invited our neighbors across the street invited us for drinks on their porch, and they're two lovely individuals from Chicago originally, and John across the street used to teach film at Columbia College.
No shit.
And I was like, well, how about that? Connections abound. But I told them that I got my start in the improv community there, and they have connections to people who are in the improv community here who run some theaters that started in Chicago as well. And they're like, if you ever want to get back on stage, and I'm like, whoa.
Hold your horses.
Let's pump the brakes. I am woefully out of practice. I'd love to go see some. I don't know about playing.
I bet you'd be able to pick it back up, though.
You think so?
I think so.
I don't know. I think you would for sure.
I think I could.
I was always in my head about it, man.
I would do it. I think if I decide to get back into it, I might take some classes again, suffer through that, and then try to find the people that I want to play with, because I'm not doing that again.
Like level A classes, like starting over classes.
I mean, wherever I would need to go, I'd just be like, hey, listen, I have some experience. I just kind of need to get a refresher, on some of this and whatever. I wouldn't want to start from scratch because I couldn't handle that. And this is not me being an asshole. Just once you have a certain baseline, a foundation, I don't need to go through just the atrocious beginning levels where someone comes out and they're like, who are you? As they're initiating,
Right. Let's spell out letters with our bodies.
I want to buy this thing. No, we're not doing transactions. No. How much does this cost? It's $9.95. Uh-oh. I don't have my credit card. It's just like the worst. The worst shit ever. Just, ugh. But I missed the pure like creativity of, you get a suggestion, you walk out, you're kind of terrified because you're like, I don't really know what to do. You say something, no one else is on stage, and then someone else comes out and then they provide something to it, and then you just slowly, bit by bit, start building something fun. Yeah. And before you know it, you're like, okay, I know who I am. I know who you are. All right, we've kind of established who we are. Now let's like dig into it. Let's have some fun. Like that's kind of interesting. I oftentimes, this is kind of weird, I fantasize about starting scenes. Just like I'll be like, I'll say a line like, Mom, get in here. And I'm just like, I wonder what would happen if I did that. Like, what would the scene be if I did that?
Funny.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think the initiations are like some of the hardest things. You know?
For sure, yeah.
And getting over that fear of of just being in there and being like, I don't know what the fuck. I don't know what the fuck to do.
If you got the key, the real key is if you've got people who excuse me, let me try that again. Take two. The key is if you've got people who subscribe to the true essence of what improv is. If you've got those people on stage, because if you've got people on stage who falter on that at all, it is rough. It is super rough.
It really makes me appreciate all of the music directors, all the teachers who basically like, goddamn, those music directors, they're like, we're going through a level E class, with all these people, and they're just like, like all the awful shit that they'd seen, the music directors that would go through these running 6 shows, and they would learn it, they would know everything, and they'd be like, dear God, I'm sure some of it was good, but the stuff that was bad, that was really bad,
Or how many times do they see this, there's always the crushes that people go to, and how many times have you seen the same bit over and over, quote unquote reimagined?
Yeah.
And it's just
because we all lean on what we know.
Absolutely, yes. And everyone, doesn't matter how good you are, at some point you get worried, you get scared, you get thrown off on stage, and you're going to revert back to the easy jokes, the dick jokes, the fart jokes, the sex. Like you're going to go there, and it gets a laugh, but man, is it's like really this again? All right.
Yeah.
All right.
I said it before, I'll say it again. I feel like you and I didn't get enough time doing improv together. We avoided each other out of principle, and we never gave ourselves an opportunity to really play with each other.
Yeah.
We kind of do it here, but on stage, I was like, man, that was a real missed opportunity. Because whenever really you were out there with me, I'm like, I feel comfortable because I know this guy, and I know that we'll throw shit out there. And, I'll say, because I know the idea, maybe it's cheating a little bit, but, when we did the whole Dick Johnson and whatever guy I was, like we were doing the competing politicians, the debate. And we had kind of talked about that before or whatever. And I was like, but you know what, though? We didn't know what we were going to say. We just threw out the idea.
Exactly. Yeah. We knew the conceit of the bit, which was, this guy's Dick Johnson. He's a politician from New England, and he's got a very Kennedy-esque air about him. Yeah. And your guy was your guy Southern, I think?
I don't remember what I did, but it was Dick Johnson was very fun. And he's made a bunch of dick jokes. It was great.
Yeah. It was just, that came about in level C when we had to
come up with the character.
I don't remember. Yeah, it was the creative character where we were in the hot seat and everyone asked. We were like at a press junket, and everyone would ask your character questions, and you had to respond off the cuff as your character. And you had. I
don't remember what character I created.
Who was this? What is their ideals and this and that? But you were not privy to any questions up front. You just had to know your character's personality and use that to inform.
What a terrifying thing at that point, where you're like, okay, you don't know what people are going to ask you, and you have to be this character.
Right, absolutely.
I still struggle with that. When I'm playing like Dungeons and Dragons and stuff, I'm so surface level that I'm like, oh shit, who is this person? Really, what do they want? What are they doing?
If we do another D&D campaign after this one, I think I finally just started to crack the surface of that, because I definitely, with my current character, I know I'm not playing it. I'm playing Ash Fallbreaker. It's Ash Fallbreaker as played by Justin Strandland.
Yes.
It's very much, I'm not leaning into the totality of what this character could be. And I know that. And I'm trying, but I'm very well aware. I'm like, that choice wasn't right for Ash. I should have done something else.
Well, I think the big thing is you got to have that first one, because you don't know. You're more focused on the mechanics.
Yes.
So you don't necessarily know how to play and role play and kind of get into it. I did the same thing with the first time I played it. I was like, God, I'm all over the place. I am not doing what I want to do with this character. And I think once you kind of get comfortable with it, you're like, oh, okay, I can really have fun with it. So
yeah. Now Seth, God bless him, that man is dialed into his fucking character and cracks me the fuck up every single time we play. He's so committed and answer, even when I think like we're all talking out of character, he will respond in character all the time. And I'm just like, yeah, that's absolutely what Artie would say.
You should hear his character in Curse of Strahd.
I can't. Are you recording it?
We are not. We're just straight up playing it.
I would love to hear wherever it is on that.
He plays a human druid named Grimace. And this guy, I don't know if you'd call it a Russian accent or whatever. He's like, I talk like this. Does not do it justice. But he has painfully low charisma, and he leans into it. Like he was having dinner with with a duchess, and he was just like picking up his bowl of soup and just drinking it. Like he brews his own wine, like it's. He makes this thing called Goodberries. It's a spell, and whatever he doesn't use for the day, he puts in his pocket and he ferments it so that he can make wine out of it. He makes hobo wine. It's amazing.
I love this.
Yeah, he shows such a great accent for it. I'm like, oh, this is so good. This is so good. Yeah, Seth understands the assignment when it comes to D&D. So he's
without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah, he's getting pretty good at it, which is pretty exciting. So, well, let's get to our first thing for the night. This is a new thing that was kind of going around. Started yesterday. Seth brought it up in our Discord, which you should check out. Link is in the description down below. Join our Discord to be part of the Mind Gap family. Come hang out with us and be a part of the conversation. But apparently, there was a TikTok user who found a couch on the side of the road on the curb in New York, and they're like, awesome, free couch. And supposedly, based on their searches, they saw it was like an $8,000 couch, and they just took it, they cleaned it, and this girl put it in her apartment, and she was like, this is it, this is awesome. And a lot of people were like, yo, that's gross. You shouldn't be doing that. People were like, what about bed bugs? They're like, well, we cleaned it. They're like, you didn't get it professionally cleaned. You scrubbed it yourself. Like, that's kind of wild. And apparently, according to this NPR article by Joe Hernandez, a bed bug expert urges caution. Like, don't do this. You just don't know what's in this stuff. And
I mean,
yeah,
bed bugs are bed bugs are a very real concern on this. But I'm talking about a myriad of things could be living deep within the crevices of this couch that you're cleaning the surface, but you didn't take it apart, but you didn't fumigate the thing. Who knows what's going to come crawling out of this thing? There might be a person in here, Doug. You don't know.
You don't know. It brings me back to college, like end of junior year, as we were actually going to move into a house with my roommates, and we would go on spring cleaning. We started driving around the Quad Cities looking for free furniture that people had put out, and we grabbed a couch. Yeah. And I'll say this, we didn't fucking wash it, and we just put it in our house.
So gross.
Yeah. It was very gross. And we thought, we were like, yeah, because we didn't have any money. Yeah. We're like, we got to furnish this out. Check this out, man. And some people were like, dude, you got to go over to Bettendorf. Those are where the rich people live. You got to go through their shit to find what they're dumping out there.
Yeah.
And it was absurd. It was disgusting. I look back on that, and even Jill at the time was like, guys, that's really gross. That's really gross.
Don't condone this. Yeah.
Yeah, and then so I think about, as an adult seeing this, and it's on the street in New York, just right there. I'm like, I mean, listen, on one hand, I'm like, hey, if you want to take this, you want to go through the trouble of picking this up, taking it, you want to do like a legit cleaning on it, take care of it, fine, I guess, whatever. There's people that do that all the time. When we were getting our HVAC replaced at our house and they took out the old one, I saw a guy drive by in a truck. He's like, hey, you guys, what are you doing with that? We're like, nothing. He's like, can I take it? I'm like, yeah, man, go take it.
Yeah,
like,
haul it.
Yeah, he was going to scrap it, basically. He was going to go and take it to the junkyard and scrap it. I mean, he had a lot of... That guy was like, oh, it's a good day today. I got some good stuff. And I was like, be my guest. Take it away. I don't give a shit, Like,
all you, big guy. All you.
Yeah. So would you take this, Justin?
I would not. Very much not. What year was it? 09, 08? 07, 08, somewhere in there. I lived in an apartment that had bed bugs. The
Oh.
nest did not start in my room, but I ended up a casualty of war. The whole apartment did. So we had to let our landlord know, and he got a fumigator, and the whole building went under. We lived in a 3-flat in Chicago. The whole building had to be fumigated, and we were out for a while, and it was absolutely fucking miserable. The room that had the majority of them, at night you would flip the lights on and pull it, and you could see them crawling. It was it was horrendous, and I have PTSD from that. So I'm always, and when I go to a hotel, the first thing I do is I strip the bed, or I at least pull up half the bed, and I'll look through all the creases. I'll look for the blood or the poop. That's when they go back through the seams and stuff. A lot of time they'll leave their excrement, or a little bit of blood will squeeze out. And if you see those, like a series of dark spots along the seams, be wary. That's all I'm going to say, is just be wary. So I will scour hotel rooms, and I still to this day scour hotel rooms because it worries the shit out of me, because I remember how miserable and how skeeved out I was with that.
As someone who worked in a hotel and dealt with people who brought bed bugs into the hotel,
Yeah.
giant pain in the ass, because that was the thing that people don't seem to understand, is they're not just born in a space, they're brought there.
Right.
And
Molded by it.
they were molded by it. And the thing too is, different countries have different protocols and standards for that sort of stuff. Like a lot of, and this is, hey, listen, if you're a European traveler, nothing against you, but actually this is a good thing. You all don't use a ton of harmful chemicals on the regular. So they travel easier with European folks. So they would come and they would just be there, and just, it was one of those things where, like, listen, this isn't our fault, okay? Someone else brought them here. And when we find out that they're there, we take care of it. We would basically lock down 4 rooms. The room where we saw it, where it was located, the room next door on either side, and then actually 2 more rooms, one above and the one on the floor below, because they can travel
Yes.
interdimensionally. They can phase shift from floor to floor. And essentially, we would bomb those rooms. We would insect bomb them. We would just blow them up like Vietnam. And we would basically, they'd be out of commission for like a week. So essentially, we would lose 5 rooms right out of the gate, because we're like, well, these things can't survive. We ended up started putting like covers on the mattresses so that the bed bugs couldn't get in.
Yep.
So, which I remember I would tell that to people. They call, they're like, so I saw on the website that, so you have bed bugs. I'm like, well, we actually have protective covers on there. They're like, so do the bed bugs just like hang out then if they can't get into the mattress?
Yep.
was
That
like-
is absolutely what happens.
Like, well, they're not getting in the mattress, and that's
Right.
that's not
They
where you
formed-
want them. So,
They've joined up and formed roving gangs of bed bugs. So be
Right.
wary. Don't walk the halls alone at night.
Listen,
'Cause they will hold you
they're not
up.
in the bed; they're in the carpet. All right, so you're welcome. You can step on them. I've personally never dealt with that, and I never want to.
Oh God, I pray that you don't, because the thing is, it's psychologically, at least for me, even when they were gone, I'd wake up and I would still feel like I would, any bite that I got may have been a mosquito bite when I was out, but then I went to sleep and I woke up and it was there. I'm like, oh no, bed bugs again. It just fucks with you, because they're so fucking gross, and they are so hard to kill.
Yeah.
They're so hard to kill. They can have hundreds of babies in a go, and they can live, I think I remember reading, they can live up to like 15 months without eating. So they'll just go dormant and hang out. And then you're like, cool, they're gone. And then you peek their head and they're like, I'm still here, and I'm going to bite you in 3 sequential in a row.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The worst I've had is at least 2 times in my life I've woken up to a spider crawling on my leg in the middle of the night.
No, thank you.
And that guy, both times, has gotten absolutely murdered just out of sheer reflex. I was just like, whoosh. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, you have picked the worst place to be in my bed. Why? A terrible spot. Like instant
This is
death.
on you.
Just
Instant death.
bam, like squish. Yeah, it was.
I'll never forget. Now that we're in a house, I'm remembering that there's a lot more insects out there. when you're in an apartment, for some reason, you don't get, especially when you're 14 floors up, there's a lot of insects that you don't see. In Ada, when we were living in our apartment prior to the house, there was a few. I'm like, oh, that's right. Like there are other bugs out there. Now that we're in the house, I've gotten reintroduced to the garden centipedes.
Oh boy.
Those little suckers with like the really long they look super fucking gnarly and they move so quick. They're relatively harmless. I think they can pinch or something, but they're not poisonous. They're whatever. They just look super fucking freaky.
Yeah.
When I was in the garden apartment in Chicago, it was the first time that I was introduced to these things, and I haven't had to deal with them since. But I remember when I was in college, after a night of indulging, I was sleeping on the couch, passed out on the couch, let's be honest. And I rolled over. It was a low back couch, so I rolled over and I woke up and I looked at the wall, and there was one. It had to have been the size of the body of it was the size of my pinky with the legs coming out. This thing was huge, and I rolled and I grabbed my flip flop and I screamed. I just smacked the wall with it. Huge indentation. But I don't deal with bugs well. I hate bugs. Creepy crawlies. You keep them. You know me and spiders.
What are these called again? They're called garden what?
I think they're garden centipedes.
I'm trying to find a picture so we can creep out other people. Oh, there we go. Here we go. House centipede.
House centipede. There you go. Okay.
There we go. Show me that image.
Yep.
Try and throw that up for the folks. There you go. Yeah.
And yeah,
These guys.
Seth's right. He goes, they're predators. They eat more annoying bugs and are generally beneficial despite being creeps. 100%. It's very much like spiders. Like you don't want to kill all your spiders because they do a good job of keeping other bugs away. But man, if it's a reflex, if you see them, it's hard to not have a reflex just to like straight up murder, death, kill the thing.
I remember one morning a couple years ago, I was making breakfast and it was like bright early in the morning. And I just happened to look down, and underneath my dishwasher, I saw one go. It stopped, looked at me as I was looking at it, and then it went. It went right back under. And I was like, "All right, man, you stay under there. We're cool, okay? Yeah. I don't want any trouble. All right, you mind your business. I'll mind mine. Yeah. We're good." Like I actually am a lot. I mean, if Jill sees a spider in the house, she's like, it is done wrong by us. It must pay with its life. And I'm like, I mean, it's all the way up there. I mean, what are you going to do, And then, if it's just me, I'm like, listen, you're getting off easy today. Go somewhere else. All right, get out of sight. I'm gonna let you stay here. I don't mind, okay? Yeah. But, Jill showed me a horrible video today, and a part of me was like, I want to share this with Justin, but I won't because I love him as a friend. Thank you. Instead, I will just describe it to you so you don't have to see it. Okay. But this one goes, oh, looks like there's a family gathering, and she's in some sort of basement. She just reaches in. There's a giant cluster of daddy long legs, and she just grabs a handful and just holds it out like this in her hand. And I'm like, listen, I know they're daddy long legs, and those are like the least lethal, but why would you do that? I was like, I hope you're a pest control person. Yeah. Because
if you could
you're used to it.
I've got goosebumps everywhere right now.
She just no big deal. She's like, oh, and there they are. And they're like, oh my God, the giant has come. They're taking us again. I'm like, blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Thank you so much for not sending that to me. That would have ruined my day.
Yeah, there's two things I know will ruin Justin. It's spiders and it's heights. Like with people climbing shit really high up and whatnot. Like that's just
and video game glitches.
Video game glitches of the bodies doing weird shit. Like
exactly. Yeah. There was I was working out in the we got a little storage room area that's big enough for us to work out in. So I was working out in there one time, and because it's unfinished, you can see any bugs that typically make their way in. That's the first entrance they breach when they're coming into the home. And there was one of those giant centipedes in there, and it was behind. We've got electrical running out with with the casing. So it was sitting behind that. So I just saw it sticking. It was like it was trying to hide, but it was vertical. Like, so its ass and its head were sticking out. And I was like, he thinks he's slick. So
Its vision's based on movement.
So I went to try to like poke it to get it down so I could end it. And I poked it and it fell and I lost track of it.
Yeah.
And I was like, now it's in here and it's pissed off. And I have to lay on the ground and do crunches and stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't like this. I was in my head. I'm like, it's just going to come running at my ear and lodge itself in there. I know it is.
I remember one time in college, Jill was driving up by the school. It was like the Quad Cities is, this is just incredibly hilly. Just hills. It's lousy with hills. Yeah. God help anyone who wants to ride a bike.
Yeah,
or
it's built on a hill. Yeah,
yeah,
you go down to the Mississippi and down to the other side.
It's brutal. If you're running or riding a bike, it's just an absolute nightmare. But we're driving up.
Running or riding a bike, go east-west. Never go north.
Yeah, never, because it's wild. But we were driving up this hill. We're driving up that hill, and I just happened to look, and from the rearview mirror, a spider just goes. And Jill's driving, and she goes, "Oh my God!" She just like does an amazing parallel park. Like, Jill's a tremendous driver, but she's like, and she just leaves the car. Leaves the car. Driver's side doors open, and she's like, "Oh my God, get it!" I tried to get it, and I tried to get it. I missed it, and then I couldn't find it. And I was like, she's like, "Did you get it?" And I was like, "Yes." She goes, "You promise?" And I was like, "Yes." It's like, I have to give her peace of mind. I have to let her know that everything's fine. I was like, I don't know where this thing.
Come clean, or is she finding out tonight when she listens?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you, to be honest with you.
It could be the undoing of the relationship.
But we do both very much remember that moment when that happened. Yeah, and she just was like, spider.
That's classic. I love that.
Yeah, it was very very entertaining.
Here's the other thing with this TikTok video. And this is the cynic in me. I'm not 100% convinced that this person didn't dirty an expensive couch, put it on the street in order to find it and clean it up. So I don't trust anything anymore because of that. Because people are looking for the fame.
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, if you watch the whole video, they show you everything that they did with it, and by the end of it, it shows like her apartment previously with a white couch, and now that it has a blue couch. But what I like most about it is the smart asses that chimed in, and in particular, this one was great, where people were not taking it seriously. But this says from Emmy Can't Read, which is a great tag on Twitter. Has anyone seen my heavily squirted on couch? I put it on the sidewalk to dry this morning, and now it's gone. It looks like this, and it's just a picture of the blue couch. I was just like, oh, that made me so happy. Like,
what were some of the other ones that you saw?
There was another one. I don't have it ready, but someone's like, "Hey, whatever you do, don't take this couch. It's haunted by a 17th century or 18th century Victorian child." Like, just all sorts of things. It was. Someone else was like, "Hey, we were doing some deep cleaning in our apartment. We moved our couch out just for 10 minutes, and when we came back, it was gone. Does anyone know what happened to it? Hit me up. Internet, do your thing." Like they're just really giving it a hard time, which I thought was funny. But it was. I'm with you though. Like, it's one of those things where you're like, is this real? I don't know. This person, congrats to this person. She got a lot of comments.
Yeah, good for you. You did it. One way or the other, you did it. I would agree with the expert and say, hey, if you find furniture on the side of the road, probably just leave it there. Or if you're gonna pick it up, at least do your due diligence and fucking have it bombed.
Yeah, man. Because listen, like I said, some people are like, yeah, man, fuck this. If it really is an $8,000 couch and they don't want it anymore, they just put it there. Like, fucking grab it, man. It's all yours. Right. Do your thing, man. Like,
you also got to assume that, is there a reason it's on the side of the road? Think about that too. What happened to this couch that someone just said, I'm going to throw out an $8,000 couch on the side of the road?
If there's one thing I've learned from living with Jill, it's like, she's like, be a better human. Those aren't her words, but that's kind of like the lesson I've turned. It's like, hey, I've taken from it. It's like, stop going to buffets, Don't eat Chef Boyardee out of the can, unheated.
Right.
Like, hey, don't pick up strangers' furniture on the side of the road. Like.
It's good rules to live by. General life lessons as taught by Jill. I get it.
I'm a better person because of her, hands down. She has helped shape me into a better man, and I cannot thank her enough. I've told her that explicitly. I'm like, listen, I know very well who I could be and who I could become. I know what's in my DNA, and you've helped me be a better person. So thank you.
Left to my own devices, this would look very different. Very, very different.
It's like that line from the Matrix or Revolutions or Matrix Reloaded where Neo's confronting the architect. It's like, you need us for batteries. And he's just like, there's depths we're willing to sink to survive. It's like, that's kind of how I am. Like,
yeah.
I can get pretty low.
What do you think if something happened, what do you think? Because I could say the same thing with Beth. Like, I'm definitely a better person for her because of her. But if something were to happen, God forbid, what do you think the first card to fall? What do you think it would be?
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm making what I want for dinner.
Okay. Is the healthy thing gonna stay there though?
I think it would. I would hope that it would. But I make a lot of sacrifices because one of the first lessons I learned living with Jill is I made myself dinner one night. She came in, she's like, well, what am I eating? I just turned to her, I'm like, I don't know, what are you making? Like, just like,
this had to have been early on.
It was early on where I'm just like, I'm making myself dinner. And then she'd be like, well, what am I having? And initially I was like, well, I don't know. Fucking make yourself some food. What do you need from me? You need me to make you a meal? But the idea was like, hey, why don't we eat together? And I was like, well, I made macaroni and cheese. And she's like, well, okay, what am I going to have? Just didn't get it. Yeah. Yeah. And as we've gone on, like we both have, our preferences, where, for example, I like mushrooms. She doesn't. One of my favorite meals from the Center app is beef stroganoff. It's so goddamn delicious, man. It is. Okay. If you haven't had it, you've got to have it. But it's got mushrooms and it's got yogurt in it. Two things that she's not super keen on. So there's been yogurt, huh? No.
Interesting. Okay.
So there's a couple of times where she and Natalie were out for the night, and I was like, "It's beef stroganoff night. It's beef stroganoff night. And I get so excited. I'm like, "Yay!" Because this makes 2 portions, and I get to have some for lunch tomorrow. And I'm like, "Yes." And I get so excited. And I mean, that would be, I guess, a small consolation. Like, yay, I can have beef stroganoff whenever I want. But I think, God, what would be the first thing to go? I mean, I probably wouldn't clean the house as well.
I was gonna say that's probably for me one of the first things. Like I have when it was the 3 guys living together, just pre-Beth, it was our apartment was atrocious, absolutely horrible, and I have gotten much better and much better about cleaning the house, but I do think I would revert back to that first.
Yeah. I mean, listen, our house is not a pristine temple by any stretch of the imagination.
Lived it.
Jill has for many years now been like, can we please hire someone to clean our house? And I'm like, no, we can handle it. And then she's like really getting to the point now where she's like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to hire someone. She goes, because she has, work takes a lot out of her. And then she's like, I don't want to spend my free time cleaning. Like, that's not what I enjoy doing. She goes, I don't mind doing like some upkeep here and there, but she's like, the dust, dusting in different places. She's like, I don't want to do it and whatever. And so to a certain extent, like my threshold is probably a lot lower than hers as far as like, how low can you go? I can go pretty low. Sure, yeah. I can go pretty low. I think with that, where I'm just like, hey, nobody's coming by. It's cool. Right. It's just me, Yeah.
I'm comfortable for now.
I'm comfortable with me.
I can ignore it. Yeah. I think as guys, we're at least is the way that you and I function. The way that I would play it was like, all right, I've got 2.5 bathrooms. I've got 2 bathing bathrooms, and I've got one that just serves as a place to, go. I think I can stretch this out for quite some time. You use one until it's just straight up unusable, and you're like, great, that one's quarantined.
And now I'm going to go to the other one. Yeah.
Yeah. And then eventually you're showering in the sink.
Yeah.
And then that third one. And then you're like, all right, now it's time.
I think in general, I would do, I mean, as far as like when things break around here, like I just have no motivation to get it taken care of. And Jill is usually the one that will go and take care of it. Like we had a tree that was dying. Jill called the guys. They took it out. They grinded it up. They're going to replace it. I'm like, yeah, that's good.
Done.
Probably would not have gotten to that. Just
That's
bottom of my list of things to get done.
Right.
There's things that annoy me, but I'm like, I can live. Jill keeps saying like, we should, reconfigure your office and do a new setup. I'm like, yeah, we should. But I don't want to go through the effort of trying to find a new desk and put it together and set this up and set that up. I'm just like, it works. It works right now. It's fine. You got old Heath over there sitting on some fold out chair.
When I watched it back with the new camera angle, I saw that. I'm like, man, that was the least amount of effort possible.
Hey man,
that art.
He's over there. He's cool, man. I still got another movie poster. I hung up 2 of my 3. Another one's just sitting over there. Haven't hung it up, but I hung up 2 of them.
Yeah.
Way to go, me! Like 2 years after moving in.
Yeah, but I'm like, it's not even. There's not even like a drape over the. It's literally just a fully.
He's right there. I want him right there, so I can look over and see him whenever I want.
So good.
Just ta-da! A lot more could go into this room. Yeah. A lot more could. Sure. But I'm just like, hey, it's fine. It's functional. It's working. Yep. I'm good.
Is what it is.
I'm good.
Oh god, that's fucking amazing.
Speaking of like the depths that you can go, last
Literal
month.
Depths.
Jesus. Yeah, last month there was this article on NPR from Rachel Treisman that says a Spanish athlete spent 500 days alone in a cave for science. And that is wild to me. Yeah. The idea of the
headline alone is just like, all right, that's wild. But then you think about how long 500 days actually is.
Yeah, right. Like that's a year and a half. Like,
and like I think this is the part of the article that really affected me. She was 48 years old when she went down and 50 when she officially completed the challenge. I'm like, holy fuck, man, you lost so much time down in that hole.
Right. Yeah, she went in on November 21st, 2021. And when she came out, it was like, hey, Russia invaded Ukraine. Hey, the queen died. Hey,
talk about reacclimating to everything that happened.
Yeah.
So
they're like, were you around for NFTs? Because those were a thing too. Like, it's fascinating because the whole point of this was to study the effects of isolation on human beings, and this scientist, her name was Beatrice Flamini. And what's interesting, some of the cool things about this, which I found fascinating, were she lost track of time about 2 months in.
Right.
So she was in a cave. The way that this worked logistically is like there was a team of scientists and supporters, people nearby if she needed help, but she refused. There's no human contact. Mm-hmm. She kept a video diary, but like they would drop off food for her. She would come pick it up, and then she would just, give like disposal stuff and whatever, but she never had any human contact. So she was fed. If there was emergency, she had a health issue, she could contact someone, but she didn't. And she also let all of her friends and family know, like she let the team go, under no circumstances, I don't care if someone in my family dies, you do not come in contact me. She let her family and friends know that, hey, listen, I'm out. If you're dead, I'm sorry, but I'm going in here and I'm not coming back out for 500 days. So just, what this is. And so she did that. And, she brought some books with her. She was able to exercise. But ultimately, at some point in time, she lost track of time to the point that when they found her, she was like half asleep, like in the middle of a nap, and she was like, no, it's got to be like day 160. And they're like, no, it's day 500. She's like, bullshit. That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she described it as an excellent and unbeatable experience. And she said, in fact, I didn't want to come out. Which is wild.
I don't understand that sentiment. But you brought up a good point, because you had said there's a big difference between voluntarily going into solitary confinement and being put there like as a prisoner or as punishment. And if you're doing this for yourself, I suppose it is. I cannot imagine spending 500 days. And you had said too in the article, it talks about how doesn't speak. I didn't talk to myself out loud. I had internal conversations. I got on very well with myself. Only spoke when she was doing her video recordings. And then there were tough moments when she would experience auditory hallucinations, and then when a fly invasion left her completely covered.
Oof.
At that point, that's when I would have pulled the ripcord and been like, you know what? Fuck this, because creepy crawlies. I'm out.
Yeah. These
are flying creepy crawlies, and I'm out.
Yeah. I think it's interesting because you've seen, like, I don't know, I've seen, they've done experiments where people just go out in the wild, and in 50 days, people lose their mind in isolation. Yeah. So I'm curious how she was able to do this for so long, granted, she did have a few comforts, I think in some of the stuff people are like, all right, I'm just going to be out in the wild surviving, I think there's a big difference. Again, self-imposed isolation, and with some creature comforts, you knew you were going to get fed. You knew that, you could read and that you were in control of your own thing. And I think for her, the big stuff she focused on was just being present, like being in the moment and just, understanding, how this works. And I don't know, I found it fascinating because
it's undoubtedly fascinating. I think this person is just a true badass.
Yeah.
I'm amazed at this person. I just don't understand it.
Do you think you could have done this?
No.
Why not?
Hardcore.
Why not?
I think that left with my, and this could be a good or a bad, or I'm sorry, not a good or a bad thing. This might be something that I do need to examine, but I feel like left alone with my thoughts for that long, with no human interaction, no distractions outside of a book, I do feel like I would slip into a very dark place, a very, very like weird depression area. I don't think I could mentally. I don't think I could remain stable. And I'm sure that that's me saying that out loud. I'm sure that triggers some red flags that I should be looking at. I'm sure I should talk to someone about that and address these parts of my brain. But I just don't. I think I could do it for a little while, but I think there would be a point where I would break and it would start getting real weird for me. And I know you're part hermit.
Yeah.
You could go 500 days.
I'm
no
wondering.
Video games.
I could get away with
movies?
that. I'd be fine. Honestly, really? I would honestly probably welcome that to some degree, like that, to have that severed and just be completely cut off from it. I think I'd be thrilled, to be honest with you. Because I don't need it. I don't need that stuff. But boy, when it's there right in front of me, I'll play it.
Would you go through withdrawals, you think?
I don't think so, honestly.
No? Okay.
I think I do it out of just pure boredom. Yeah. And if I didn't have access to it, I've done that where I've been on vacation. I'm like, I don't have games. Oh, well.
That's fair. Yeah.
Do
you think you go the full 500 though?
That would be the true test. Because for starters, I would absolutely be talking to myself. Like, there would be constant conversations with myself all the time.
And it would be external, because she said she had internal dialogue with herself, but you would make yours external.
I just do that naturally. As it is. I talk to myself in the shower. I'm like, okay, what are we doing today? And blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm always talking to myself nonstop. Yeah. I would be fun just to let my imagination run. I bet I'd finish some stories that I have building in there.
Christ, right?
Boy, would I be able to do that.
They would send cameras down, and there would just be like drawings scrawled across the entire fucking cave. You'd
Cave
have
paintings, you know?
this epic story being told through cave paintings.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It would be. Yeah, I think if I witnessed the same thing where like after like 2 months I lost track of time, I think that would be the key, is to lose track of time, because if you just are fully like scratching in hash marks on a wall and being like, and obviously if I was like, oh, I gotta be away from my family for 500 days, I was like, I don't think I'm gonna do that. You know, I'm not gonna do that right now. I don't know. A part of me, I'm not gonna lie. Part of me would be curious to try something like this at some point, like if I could pull it off, you know. I think the weirdest thing would just be like, dude, you got to rub one out, you know, in the cave. You know, you got to find that spot. This is the corner, you know.
Always comes back to that.
Well, I mean, let's face it. Hey, listen.
It's always going to be there.
Listen, it's silly, but let's face it. We have needs, you know. You're gonna have to do that at some point.
Fuck that rock.
You know, you're gonna have to do that. And tell you what, you're not gonna have your phone. You're not gonna have access to the internet. You're gonna have to do that old school, baby.
Right.
You have to go dig deep into that brain of yours and find stuff. You know, like that would be interesting, because especially if you're bored. Let's face it, you're gonna be doing that. If you're bored, you're just gonna be jerking off.
I'd like to think. Can you imagine how? Like, there's a small part of me that thinks like, would you just emerge, just no pun intended, just jacked to the nines, like
well, that's the thing I'd be worried about, because this woman said she exercised. I'm like, what did you do for exercise? You know, like what's just body squats?
Yeah,
did you do push-ups?
It
you know,
hurt, yeah, man.
Like that would suck. That would
it
suck.
Hurt with rocks.
I mean, that's for sure. I'd be also like, I'm bored. I guess I should do some sit-ups. You know, like.
I guess I'm gonna do sit-ups now. Question mark. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing.
Like, is there? I feel like there's some sort of. If we can, let's make a goal. If we can hit. I don't know, what is it, Doug? If we can hit 4,000 subscribers on YouTube. I don't know. Pick a number. What's a good number for us?
I need to know what the rest of the sentence is going to say.
And we spend a week in solitary.
Fuck. Wow.
Could we do 7 days in solitary? We'd set up a GoPro in the corner.
Oh man, we have to jerk off on camera? This has to be OnlyFans then. Now, are we together, or are we in our own caves? Well, it's not solitary if we're together.
Yeah, one could argue we share a mind, though.
Shit. That would be interesting, man. And what would solitary be?
I don't know.
Like, what would be the? Would it have to be something in nature, or would we be like, all right, we have this room? Well, I think being in a room. I think weirdly enough, like there's some upsides and downsides to the cave, right? Mm-hmm. The cave is creepy because there's shit that lives there that you can't control. That sucks. Absolutely. But also there's something about it being.
You're outdoors.
Being with nature. It seems more natural. Siren goes 69 subs. Yes, 69 subs, and we'll do it.
Well played.
It's but the idea of like, because I have to also assume like in a cave, like I don't know, for some reason I'm imagining it's like kind of an expansive space, you know, like lots of nooks and crannies and whatever.
I guess what was the scope of this area she was in? Was she in like did she like crawl down into like a teeny little like carved out hole and she just sat there? Or was it like she could go exploring and there was a whole system of tunnels and stuff?
Because if you give, I don't know if it was you or Seth that shared that video of like that apartment in New York that was essentially like.
Oh, it was me. That was me. Yeah.
Yeah. It was a tiny ass apartment. It was a joke that was like, I forget how much it was, like a month. It was like $1,200, $1,500 a month.
$1,200 for, it was literally a closet.
Yeah. It was like a 6x8 cell.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
If you're like, this is where you're going to be for 7 days, like that, something about that with the walls, it's just like fluorescent lighting, you know, and being like, you got to be in here for 7 days. I don't know, man. Something about that seems incredibly depressing.
Absolutely, without a doubt.
I'm like, oof, that's tough, man.
Now, yeah, I mean, could you go out and do like? Could we do in the woods then? Could you isolate? Could you isolate outside?
You gotta
Not
be in the
next to
woods.
say, you know.
What if you were in a cabin in the woods?
Could you do a cabin?
Interesting. Yeah.
Would that be the same? I mean, obviously, no TV, no radio, no phone, like
No human
all the same
contact.
parameters, no human contact. It's just you have an indoor space. You can have your books. You can have journals. You can write. But you can't. I think that I feel like that would be a relative equivalent if we're trying to do this more as like a fun stunt. I think that would still be a struggle to do it for 7 days.
I could do that.
You think you could?
I could do that. Give me 7 days worth of groceries. I cook for myself.
Yeah.
I
could probably do 7 days. I don't know what I'm talking about.
I could
7
easily
days
do
isn't
that.
much. Yeah.
I could easily do that. That'd be no
Okay,
problem.
done.
Yeah.
4,000 subscribers and we do a month.
4,000 subscribers a month. Whoo! Hey, I need some PTO. Why? I got 4,000 subscribers. I gotta go to a cabin for a month.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Well, check out my content.
I'm an I influence 4,000 people, half of which are real.
The other half are bots.
They're bots.
A month sounds kind of spooky, but at the same time, man, if you give me a space where I can go out and walk,
Yeah.
and again, no human contact. In fact, I think I probably prefer that. I'm like, I don't want to talk to anybody.
Right. No.
Leave me alone. Leave me alone. And I had access to food, like just stocked to the tits with food that I can make, and I could just walk around, have my thoughts. I think I could do it, man. I really do.
I think a month would be a stretch for me. I think a month would be coming up on the list. Now, I might surprise myself. I might be able to pull it off, and I'd be like, actually, this is really nice. I just intuitively feel like a month would be a little tough for me.
God, how nice would that be to not have internet, not have your phone,
Right?
not have anything. Just be like, I think to me, man, that sounds like a gift. Is what that sounds like. That sounds like
feel
a
like
real gift.
It would take me a full week to actually like lock in mentally of like, okay, now like let go, let your mind, because I think you're chemically shifting things in your brain when that happens.
Yeah.
Like you get every time you pick up your phone, you get a dopamine hit.
Yes.
And so you're if you put that down, if you disconnect at that level, you are chemically altering the responses in your brain. So I think for me, it would take a minimum a full week for me to actually like lock into being the new way of thinking.
If you just told me the only thing that I could have were books, this is like Jill's paradise.
Right? Yes.
All you get to do is this cabin for a month, and all you have are books. She'd be like, "Fuck yes,
You'll have
perfect
wine
vacation
and books.
Yeah, it's like okay.
Okay.
Yeah, but I've had access to books, and I just go on walks in nature. Yeah, I could totally do that, man. Like that sounds awesome, actually.
All right, so 4,000 subscribers gets Doug a vacation.
And Justin too.
Sure.
Yeah. Commit to the bit.
I still think it'd be funnier if the two of us tried to do a month with nothing but just us and books. And to see
dude, we would all of a sudden it turned into just Doug and Justin improv show. We'd be like, all right, man, let's do improv.
nuts. We would come out of it. We would either come out of it an unstoppable comedy duo or never speaking again. It would be one extreme or the other, and there's no in between.
I agree. It's like, yeah, I would be more concerned that our friendship would be in danger. Like that would be my biggest fear, because I think we would get along, but I'm like, but what if we didn't? I know I'll get along with myself. Like I have no problem with that.
I think the differentiating factor, I think you and I could live together for a month, no problem.
Yeah.
In normal circumstances. Like you and I could easily be, if something happens and we do need to make sure that we both don't backslide, I think you and I could be roommates and we would be just fine. We would keep each other honest. But if it was you and I, if it was you and anyone or me and anyone, and we didn't have anything other than the company, that would be rough.
I think I'd be fine with Jill, but
Yeah. Well, sorry. Anyone.
yeah,
Spouse is not withstanding. Yeah.
yeah. It's like I could totally do that with Jill, but
Yes.
if you and I did that, and we had access to everything, I would definitely put some bad habits in you. I'd be like, hey, Justin, let's play some games.
And I'd be like, that's great, Doug. I've got some French onion dip here.
And I'd be like, let's do it, baby. You know, firing up some games. You know,
Undone.
Justin, let's play some Left 4 Dead 2, baby.
Oh man, we would need 2 gaming PCs for sure.
Stat.
It's stat, yeah. That would be, it'd be fun, but it wouldn't be practical. You know what is practical?
Me.
You got the questions, we got the answers. All you do is ask.
Ass. Practical.
Practical.
Practical. Practical. Practical.
Practical. Practical. Ask Practical Doug.
For those of you who've never been here before, Ask Practical Doug is a fun segment that we like to do. There's a little Doug that lives inside of Big Doug, and that little Doug's name is Practical Doug. And he helps Big Doug through all of life's mysteries, its questions, its quandaries, its quagmires. You can ask Practical Doug a question if you'd like, and you can get a practical answer. If you join us live on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Central, youtube.com/mindgappodcast, you can ask us live in a chat any question that your heart desires. And if it's good enough, we might just throw everything else away and focus on your question. Discord, there's a special channel dedicated just to Practical Doug. It's the Ask Practical Doug channel. And then on social media, if you @ MindGap Podcast and hashtag Ask Practical Doug, you might just get an answer. You don't know. Roll the dice. It's the spice of life. You don't know.
Spicy.
So we've been having a lot of fun with the Am I the Assholes? It's a Reddit subreddit, very popular one, and we've been borrowing some because they've just been gold recently. And so we have another Am I the Asshole here that Practical Doug is going to weigh in on. So this is a little lengthier. So strap in, boys and girls, because am I the asshole for telling my parents why I get toys from my family and friends and do not share them with little kids? I have not read this one yet. I'm very happy with the title. I'm even happier with the first sentence. I just had my 50th birthday. I got exactly 3 kinds of gifts: liquor, toys / Legos, and a new planner. That is actually perfect for me. I already own everything I need. Sounds very much like you.
Yeah.
You're like, don't buy me anything. If I want something, I've already bought it myself.
Exactly.
My parents bugged me about still getting toys and bugged me for putting them away without opening them and letting the younger kids there play with them. I said that most of the stuff that I got with these are collectibles or too advanced for the little ones, for the littles, and that I could pull out of my tub of random Legos of my parents wanted to watch them because the rest of us were doing the party. So my parents just kept at it, telling me the toys were meant for children, and I was being immature by not sharing my toys. When I was out back, my mom went into my office and grabbed my new X-Wing set for the grandkids and great-grandkids to play with. My grandson came. My grandson came and got me because he knows my rules. He's 5. I came into the house and he took the box back before they got any of the bags out. I put it in my office, locked the door. My mom said I was being a jerk, so I just reminded her that when I was a kid, they used to give my toys away. One Christmas, they'd forgotten to get a gift for someone, and this was when stores were not open 365 days. So they waited until after I opened my gifts. They picked one, rewrapped it, and took it with them to give away. I was 6. It wasn't the first time, and it wasn't the last. I brought up a few more examples. They were embarrassed and left because I may have been louder than necessary because of some of my other gifts. My parents have been calling me and saying that I'm an ass for bringing up shit from decades ago. I asked Basically, they're mad, and my sister thinks I went too far for calling them out in public. Am I the asshole? 50 years old, got toys, said the kids at the party aren't allowed to play with them. His parents disagreed. Practical Doug, what do we think?
You did. There was an important line there that you kind of skipped over, which was, I asked them if they never wondered why I made sure to destroy the packaging or delicate parts of the toys of my entire childhood. I knew they wouldn't give away damaged goods to other people. So he intentionally damaged things because he knew that they would take away his gifts and give it to other people.
That's fucked up. Okay.
You know what that sounds like? Sounds like Chris fucking Cochran to me. That's what that sounds like. So this one hits a little personal for me. I mean, listen, your stuff is your stuff. At the end of the day, you make the rules with your things. And if you don't want someone to touch or play with the things that belong to you, you get to make those rules, especially in your own house. Like, that's crazy. And the fact that this guy's grandkid was like 5 and knew his rules. It was like, hey, great grandma's getting out your things. I mean, that's just disrespectful. Like, that's disrespectful to I mean, listen, I'll even take it to something. This is a much, it's not an apples to apples comparison, but like going home in the past, my mom would be like, will you help me with the computer? And I hop on her computer and Jesus Christ, the resolution. I mean, it was like so zoomed in and pixelated. And I was like, how the hell do they operate in this? I can't stand this. So I would adjust it to my liking and forget. And then I come back down. My mom's like, what have you done? I can't read this. Change it back. And at first I was like, oh, get over yourself. But I was like, you actually know what? This is your computer. These are your preferences. That wasn't right of me to adjust that. I will absolutely change it back to what you want it to do. So it's just, I think for someone to be like, these are toys. I'm like, well, yeah, okay, they are. But to this person, they're collectibles. And they're not things that he plays with. And just because they are classified as a toy doesn't mean you just can hand them over to kids to play with. Like, what? These kids don't have any other toys to play with? Like, what the fuck? Like, come on. These aren't the only things in the house. This isn't the apocalypse. We're like, boy, if we only had some toys to entertain ourselves, grandfather, can we play with your X-Wing fighters? No, they're a collectible. It's like, okay. It's just, I find it incredibly disrespectful to go to someone else's house and then try to dictate what they do with their things. That's insane to me. That's absolutely insane.
I fully agree with you. It doesn't matter if the parents disagree. Like, if the parents like, well, they're, toys are kids' things. Doesn't matter. That's your opinion, and you can hold that. But the fact of the matter is, these are my things, and I am an adult with my own grandkids. Doesn't really matter what you think at this point. I'm sorry. Yeah.
And is he an asshole for calling them out in public? That depends. Depends on how the communication goes and how it was done. I think there's obviously some history there, so I'm willing to bet it wasn't a civil and measured conversation. It was probably
also some alcohol involved.
Yes, probably riddled with baggage and trauma and all sorts of other stuff. So I'm sure it probably came out to the parents. Are probably like, wow, he really overreacted over this X-Wing fighter set. That's usually how it comes across, because we're hearing his perspective here, which is they used to fucking take away my shit and give it to other people because they forgot to buy someone else a gift. That's fucked up, man. That's really fucked up.
That's really tough.
That's really tough. And I mean, so listen, I think there's time and place for, like, listen, now is as good a time as ever. We're going to have this conversation, and I'm going to tell you exactly what's going on, and it probably won't be well received, but it's like, listen, I'm setting boundaries right here and now. You can't take my shit. Stop doing that. And if you do that, here are going to be the consequences. If you want to talk about this more, let's talk about this more. But for now, get the fuck out of my house. Like, I don't want you here. Right. You've upset me and whatever.
Also, it's his house.
Yeah.
That's happened at, right? Like,
yeah.
You don't go into my office in my house. You in my house? You're under my roof? It's my rules.
Yeah, exactly.
What happened to that?
Yeah, you should have that kind of respect regardless of what you think, like, especially for something like this. I'm trying to devil's advocate myself right now as I'm talking about this. Like, is there a situation where that wouldn't be permissible, or someone could be like, yeah, we're going to do this, fuck this guy. I can't think, I think it would have to be a very extreme circumstance where you'd have to violate someone else's wishes in their own house to...
Well, especially when it comes to toys, I think, like, or personal effects. Like, if it's food and there's someone who's like having low blood sugar and they're going into a diabetic coma,
eat their food.
I'm gonna steal your food and give it to this person because they
Yeah.
fucking need it to live. But if it's something that's just material possessions, then I have a hard time justifying any reason why someone should get to call the shots on that outside of the person who owns it.
I think it's just a matter of respect.
Yeah.
Over the weekend, Natalie had one of her friends from school had a pool party, and she was hanging out with them, and we had left Loki at the house for a while, and so I was gonna go let her out, and Jill's like, "You should bring her by." And I went to the owner. I said, "Hey, is it cool if I bring my dog by?" Because I wasn't just gonna do it, you know. And they're like, "Yeah, it's totally cool." But imagine if I was just like, "I'm gonna go get my dog. Hey guys, here's my dog." It's like I ultimately decided not to do it because I'm like, this just sounds like a giant fucking hassle. Like,
Sure.
God damn it, my dog is now gonna be. Whenever Loki's around with stuff like that, I'm just anxious because I'm like, what the fuck is she gonna do? You know.
Absolutely.
Plus, there's like 2 other dogs there. They seemed cool, but who knows? I'm just like, I don't want to fucking deal. And we ended up being there for like 5 more minutes anyway. So I'm like, nah, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
It's not worth it. But yeah, what if I was just like, I'm just going to bring my dog to your house? You know what my dog likes to do? My dog likes to fucking shit on the floor. Hope that's cool with you. You know, it's just, it's a matter of respect, man. And if someone, even if you think what they do is dumb, that's still up to them. And it's in their house, and it's their possessions. It's things that they own. You got to respect that. So this guy's not an asshole, and good luck, sir, dealing with your parents, because
it is decided.
From one guy dealing with problems with his parents to another, I get it. I get it. Good luck.
There you go. Practical Doug has spoken.
I love Am I the Assholes. They're fun. They're so much fun. All right, Justin, what do you have to recommend this week?
I'm going to recommend the podcast Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend.
Nice.
And I'm recommending this ahead of Conan's new HBO Max show. Conan
Just called
O'Brien.
Max, Justin. Just called Max.
It's Max
As of today, it's just called Max.
That's true.
Fuck.
It's called Conan O'Brien Needs to Go. And it's a travel show. So when he had his talk show, he would do these specials where he would travel. Conan, I think it was like Conan Abroad or something. And he would go to different countries and do hour-long specials from those countries. So he's got the main podcast he does is Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend. And it's longer form interviews with all the celebrities he's ever had on his show. And he brings them on and actually gets to sit and talk with them for an hour and a half period of time. He does this ancillary show called Conan O'Brien Needs a Fan, where fans can submit requests and they'll be picked and they get a half hour to talk with Conan, and he releases it as a second podcast. Then he asks them about their life and what they do and their specialties and ribs them a little bit and, you know, this and this. So he has taken some of the best people and he has traveled to visit those fans in their country. So he goes to Germany and Norway and all the places around the globe. And I love the conceit of this show. I think it's so I love these travel shows, and I love the fact that these random fans, little did they know that they were actually going to get a visit from Conan himself based off the conversations they had. So I would strongly recommend listening to this. There are his what was his assistant, I believe now is just I think she's moved into, she's a producer now or an author, this and that. Sonam Obsessian was his assistant for like 10 years and now just a partner in things. And Matt Gorley is the producer of the podcast. The three of them, they're kind of his wingmen in the podcast. And the three of them are fucking hysterical together. The improv that Gorley and Conan get into, and Sona will just laugh at anything. And it's just so infectious to hear that. The latest episode, they had Bill Hader back.
Ooh.
And there's this bit where they talk about Conan and Bill are sharing bits that they used to do to make Larry David laugh. And Bill Hader ends up making, I've not heard Conan laugh this hard in a long time. And just to hear him, Matt Gorley, and Sona just can't breathe laughing. It was just such a joy. It was so fun. So they get into this kind of stuff all the time on the podcast. So I would strongly recommend, if you're a fan of Conan at all, it's very much his sense of humor, this podcast is. Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend, Conan O'Brien Needs a Fan, and then in preparation for Conan O'Brien needs to go.
I've checked out like a couple episodes here and there of Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend. I'm absolutely going to do that first thing tomorrow. I'm going to boot that up. I love that stuff. Some of the things that have been going around like on Instagram Reels and TikTok are like there's like compilations of Between Two Ferns where where Galifianakis is interviewing people in the when they break. Just this, it tickles me to no end to see these like people who are professionals. Yeah, that can't handle these questions that he's asking. Like with Brie Larson, like, oh my God, they just John Hamm, fucking Peter Dinklage, like all that sort of stuff. And also there was a great one where it was Martin Short played that fat character. Who was it?
Oh, Jiminy Glick.
It was like Jiminy Glick and Larry David, and they had outtakes from that interview where Jiminy Glick was just being a complete asshole, and Larry David couldn't handle it. Like it was
just laughing. Yeah,
just laughing. It was so good.
I love it. Yeah,
I'm just tickled, like seeing professionals break.
Yes,
like on those things. It's like watching the compilations of like SNL. The greatest breaking parts in SNL.
Yes,
it's
absolutely
endlessly entertaining
to see professionals lose their minds because you're like, man, this has to be funny because it really got it.
Exactly.
What do you got, Doug?
I would recommend the game called King of the Castle that I played for the stream last week. I tested it out with the Discord crew on Wednesday. If you own the game, it's $5. If you own the game, then you get to be the king. And then you can sort of like other people don't have to own the game. They can join it almost like Jackbox games, and they get to be like a noble in one of these noble houses. Their objective is to fuck over the king and fuck over the other noble houses and take the crown. My objective as the king is to fucking meet my goals and have an heir, and I have yet to do it in 2 tries. Both times, Seth has overthrown me and killed me.
Seth has usurped the king twice fold.
Yeah. The first time, I didn't understand that spending money was a bad thing. I was like, oh, I'll just buy because there's these situations that come up, and I'm like, oh, I'll just buy my way out of this. I'll spend some money. It's like, Your Highness, your treasury is way too low. You need to do something to get money back. And I was like, okay. The first time I was like, I guess I'll sell some of the royal jewels. It's like my authority goes down because people are like, look at this putz. He has to pawn off his own shit to get money. I was like, no big deal. I spent some money again. It's like, hey, we're really in a bind again. And like there weren't really good options, but there was this one called print money, basically print coins. I'm like, oh, I'll do that. I thought it was 1,000. I got 10,000 gold out of it. I was like, this is awesome. Like 3 rounds later, it's like there's hyperinflation. And it destroyed my kingdom because I lost my money. I basically lost all of it, and then I lost stability. I lost all the shit. And the thing is, situations will come up, and the nobles get to vote on the outcome. I don't get to do that. I can like impose some laws to like maybe take one option off, or make it so that, hey, if you vote for this, you'll get money, or you know what? There's different things. But I can't control the outcome. So it's up to the nobles. And what I loved about playing with everyone is like Seth and Noah, they really role played their noble houses. They have like different distinct like affectations and whatever. And Seth was always like, like, and his thing was like, oh, we got to get him to spend money. He goes, oh, I think we should spend money to solve this problem. I'm like, no, stop spending money. Or like Noah was like, hey, we got to take, he's like, I don't want to have any faith in my place because we need to basically start a cult. So he's like trying to tank the faith. And it's just like, it's so goddamn stressful. But at the same time, I had a really good time. But heavy lies the crown, gang. There's like, and both times, I married like one of the children of these houses, and both times didn't hit it off. Like it was just a cold relationship. The second time, my wife was a like hunter, a big warrior, but she was very like introverted and quiet. And there was a scenario came up where supposedly she went on a hunt and murdered a peasant's pig, and I made her pay for the pig. And I think that may have ruined the relationship.
You think?
I think so. Yeah, that was not good. But it's a cool game, man. It's really cool. It takes a little bit to like figure out how it works, but holy shit, it's a lot of fun. It's really enjoyable. It's King of the Castle. It's $5 on Steam. Only one person has to own it, and everyone else can play along. So I recommend it. It's fun.
All right.
Well, that being said, thanks for hanging out with us, gang. It's been a great week again. Another fine session of MindGap Podcast. But be sure to check us out on YouTube, youtube.com/MindGap Podcast. Hit the like button, subscribe to us. We'd greatly appreciate that. Also, if you'd like to contribute to us, be sure to check us out on our merch on redbubble.com. You can check out our Patreon, patreon.com/MindGap Podcast, and join our Discord. Become part of the MindGap family. All those links are in the description down below. And be sure to follow us on all our social media at MindGap Podcast. And don't forget to check out Justin as well online.
On Instagram at Justin_Michael, spelled Mikel. It's the fun way of spelling it. And while you're in the online realm, make sure to check us out on all the platforms where you can find and consume your favorite podcasts. You'll be able to find us. We'd like you to share, rate, review, subscribe, all those things. I always say the big one is sharing because it's caring, and you just got to let people know that we exist. That's the only way we're going to spread like disease.
If you want us to be isolated, you got to spread the word, all right? If you want us to take a month to be isolated in a cabin, you got to spread the word, y'all.
This is on you. Our fate is in your hands. And then 2east8th.com and 2east8th on all social media, and loveandimprovfilm.com and Love It Improv Film on Instagram.
Fantastic. Well, gang, thanks again for hanging out with us. And with that, I'll say, Justin, thank you.
Douglas, thank you.
Chat, thank you.
Listeners, thank you.
And you all have a dandy fucking week. And stop recording. Boop, 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 boop. Yeah, my internet has been pretty shitty tonight. I also the last couple months, man, I'm going to call foul on Comcast. They're just like, hey, you've met your limit. You met your limit for your internet for the month. And I'm like,
I'm 95% to my limit as well. And I thought, I was like, that's really weird.
I'm like, am I? I didn't have this problem for an entire year. And now all of a sudden they're like, oh, you're hitting your limit. And I'm like, and this month is the worst of them all. Like, I already hit it today. I hit my 100% capacity today. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, what have I done?
7 days left.
It's like, what have I been doing did you lower my threshold? I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I'm annoyed.
I'm the same is because I was like, I don't feel like, I feel like maybe I've been watching The Sopranos a little bit more than usual, but like, I can't imagine that would affect, that badly, but.
I know that, like, I edit that other podcast, Take Two podcast, and I upload stuff to the drive, but I was like, I don't know, man. I mean, I'm sure uploading shorts, but those aren't that big. They're not big files. I'm just like, I don't know, man. I think it's kind of bullshit. Fucking Comcast can just eat all the dicks. Goddamn bastards.
I don't understand. I don't understand why, but I'm running into the same thing. So
yeah. Anyway, sorry you had to listen to us bitch about that siren, and I can't wait to look at your memes. So it's gonna be good. Appreciate you stopping by. Always appreciate you. Well, with that being said, we are going to do a video game stream on Friday. We're going to play some Pummel Party. If you're not familiar with that, it's basically Violent Mario Party, where you get together and you try to beat the shit out of each other to win. And we're doing it with Jared. Old Jared is coming back into the stream, which is exciting. He's played that before with us in the past, and he's available. So we're going to be playing that, which is super cool. I'm very excited, so be sure to tune in on Friday night, 8 p.m. Central Time for some Pummel Party. Gonna have some fun. Pummel Party. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get off this fucking internet. Thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. See you Friday. Peace, love. I don't know, man. I was going to say...
peace,
good
love,
night.
and cherry slushies.
I was going to say peace, love, and incest. I don't know why, but... Anyway, good night.